We're also going to be talking about the UAE. Everybody knows the glitzy attractions in Dubai. Still making headlines recently with the opening of the world's tallest building. The Burj Dubai, now known as the Burj Khalifa, named after this man, Sheikh Khalifa. Which brings me to the area I'm going to talk about, Abu Dhabi. Once the conservative neighbour of Dubai and labelled the richest city in the world, Abu Dhabi is starting to do some big projects of its own, but with a difference to Dubai. This is the map of Abu Dhabi. The project I'm going to be speaking about is the Raha Beach project, for which Aecom is the main consultant. Raha Beach will be the gateway to Abu Dhabi, lies amongst the islands of Abu Dhabi and on the beach side of the Dubai-Abu Dhabi highway. The area around Abu Dhabi itself, the area around Raha itself is bursting with development. Surrounded by Khalifa City, a $40 billion US master plan comprising residential, government offices and embassies. This development is expected to continue through to 2030. There is the environmentally ambitious Masdar City. This is the first planned zero carbon, zero waste city, fully powered by renewable energy. It will become home to the IRENA headquarters, which is the International Renewable Energy Agency. Opposite Al Raha is the Yas Island development. Formula One fans here. This is the home of the US circuit in the championship. It will also consist of other tourist developments, hotels, beaches, marinas, retail, golf, and restaurant facilities. Raha Beach has an infrastructure budget of approximately $18.5 billion US. It will be a mixed-use hospitality development, mainly built on reclaimed land. By this, I mean over 5.2 square kilometres, stretching approximately 10 kilometres. It will consist of 11 different precincts, with a range of luxury villas, apartments, townhouses, elaborate office towers, restaurants, public and private marinas, and in addition to a road network, you'll have the opportunity to travel via the Grand Canal, by boat, and water taxi. The development will also be linked by boardwalks, though walking may not be a popular choice in summer. A light rail system will also link the precincts. To prevent an overly built-up appearance, there is a designated garden precinct and a significant amount of water features scattered throughout the development. Raha Beach will house somewhere between 120 and 150,000 residents. It is expected completion around the year 2018. This is the model room in the project office. It's just of the eastern package, which is approximately half. The bit you're looking at there is approximately the size of this stage. Because the room wasn't quite long enough, the other third sits beside it in another part of the room. So I have some pictures of some of the construction and also some artist impressions of the finished result. You may notice no water in the canals yet. This is the way our bridges and walls to be constructed, and the canals will be dredged out. This is the client's new headquarters. And of course the finished result of the main business precinct. to stand here and tell you how the entire project is being delivered using 12D. That simply isn't the case. This project has a different success story. You see, until May last year, 12D and Aecom members did not exist. So how was it introduced? If we go back to the start of 2009, a project manager from our Aecom Sydney office was sent to review and manage the Raha Beach project. All interchange packages were complete, and the project was approaching completion of the east package, leaving only the west. The contractor threw a spanner in the works, demanding from Aecom a guarantee that there would be no clashes in the services contractors. This basically required all services to be designed in 3D. The office approached this new requirement in the same manner most things are approachable in the UAE, by hand, slightly aided by AutoCAD, with a few list routines developed by a gentleman in the office. You're probably thinking the same thing I did. In an effort to minimise workload and achieve completion date for the east, they only designed the intersections where services deviated from the standard corridors, creating conflicts. There are over 30 major intersections in the east package, and a similar number was expected in the west. So the newly appointed project manager decided existing project methods needed to be evolved to avoid a repeat of this traumatic experience in the west. 12D was suggested as a plausible solution, and a request for assistance was made through the Aecom grapevine. This is the construction site with the master plan overlaid for the east. It's also showing some of the interchanges on the highway. Work so far for the west. A bit of a comparison from when the design team started to current. As you can see, early reclamation works were already underway for the east. So how did I get the gig? Well, about 2 years ago I started developing my own 12D training course, which targeted mainly new road designers. Since then, I've continued to refine the course based on the changing tools 12D has provided. The course consists of the basics: setting up new projects, reading and survey data with mapping files, horizontal and vertical alignments using super alignments, MTFs, apply many functions, commutators, chains, and outputting, with a basic introduction to long and cross-section VBS. All the essentials for a new user to commence a project under supervision. But for Aecom, perhaps the most beneficial component of this training is to encourage the adherence to the Aecom 12D design standards and procedures from the very beginning. A combination, it appears, appealed to the Raha Beach project manager. He then contacted Joel Gregory, the UAE support manager, to purchase 5 initial licenses. With approximately 2 weeks' notice, I boarded a plane destined for Abu Dhabi on the 3rd of May last year. Main objectives: set up a 12D system, train new users, and assist with workload. So as you can imagine, at such short notice, I was not provided with much information on the project details or on any local standards and existing naming conventions. The plan: take the Brisbane office system and implement it in Abu Dhabi. The Aecom Brisbane 12D standards and procedures are developed by our biggest 12D tragic, Steve Hunter. For those of you who attended the last conference, you may recall his presentation on these standards, or you may also recognise his name from the forums, which he has a large presence. I think that's a result of reading too many comments from Lee on the forum. Either that or he's been visiting downstairs. So anyway, though the Aecom Brisbane naming conventions are based on Queensland Main Roads Convention, Steve has developed our system to be flexible enough to accommodate individual project requirements and to allow other Aecom officers to adapt them to suit their local authority requirements. As it turns out, no such thing as a standard naming convention in the UAE, so it was easy for me, simple copy and paste. The only major update required was to change the symbols file to match UAE standard PITs, access changes, etc. An obvious benefit to using the Brisbane office as a sister office to Al Raha is the support Brisbane can offer through updates issued for implementation and procedures, and as procedures are updated to capture the ever-evolving functions of TLD. So the major challenge, to find an alternative to designing services in AutoCAD whilst improving the efficiency of drawing production. As you can see on the right there, these are the services for the Raha Beach project. And because there wasn't enough, the solid waste at the bottom was added later in the mixed package. The client decided to add a vacuum waste system, so rubbish trucks would not be required to drive around the streets. Instead, use the back service road to collect rubbish at a number of collection points. Fortunately, the manufacturer took care of this design, though it still needed to be considered. The utility engineer compiled a list of services and all their different sizes. So my first step, assign a unique stream name for each and set a model for each group to go into. I also had to edit the standard naming convention to suit the extra and different services. This simply required changing some to suit and adding others. And yes, that is chilled water. So my normal routine revolves around road design in the transport section of Aecom. So modelling services was something slightly different and an interesting new challenge for me. We all know superstreams will produce the desired result, the potential to be either culvert or pipe to any given dimension. But it simply didn't have the same tools as a super alignment for creating each service line. So I decided to start with a control line, using a super alignment, much the same as a road center line. This gave me the added benefit of being able to use computators. For example, in horizontal, I had the option to link services that ran parallel to each other, and vertically, I could use partial drapes, where the service ran at its standard depth. I found super alignment easier in general, especially the vertical alignment. In fact, the most challenging task was converting grades to match pipe angles. Not hard at all. So with the invert of the utility modelled, all that was required was to convert it back to a superstream and simultaneously copy it to a different model, leaving the original control line in case modifications needed to be made. Assign either a pipe or culvert dimensions to the superstream, and of course the easiest way, create a map file, matching string name to size. Now the best part, record this process in a chain, apply the convert and copy from super alignment to superstream, apply the map file, add clean models to the top of the chain, and then I had an automated process. This design chain meant there was a recorded process applying pair procedures. If a change is made to a level, on the chain, and the design is updated. Should note a number of services that cross under the road pattern in the UAE are required to have a concrete encasing, basically be put inside a concrete culvert, regardless of depth. Nobody could really tell me why, but the running comment was one of the sheets only concrete clean. For these, I drill a super string directly on the service and then the derivative. These encasings stretched from curb to curb. So all services have a minimum distance which another service cannot intrude, a clearance distance, or clearance zone. I wanted to create a checker for this, an easy visual guide for the designer. Again, easy to do with another chain. Record and translate, or lower by the clearance distance, and at the same time copy to a checker model. Make a copy of the map file and add the clearance distance to the pipe culvert size. Add a clean weld to the top of the chain, and when you run, you can turn the checker model on any view and you have an automated designer. The best thing now, I only have to create these map files once. They can be used for any future services. Chains can be copied. Just use TextPad to do a search and replace on model names. All fairly simple. In fact, the only thing that would make it easier would be if the Gurus at 12D made a pipe design module. Now the only thing left to do, create an AutoCAD drawing template and a map file to match for export. This resulted in a significant reduction in drafting requirements. So these are some of the intersections I modelled for the Eastern package. It was much easier to issue the contractor with a 3D model than setting out all the crossings in CAD. After completing one of the intersections for the East, I was able to use it as a data set for training our utility engineers. Although for the East intersections were put together as a whole, the plan for the West was to model the entire services and separate into large groups. For example, stormwater and sewer would have their own projects, and the different kinds of water utilities may be grouped together, as to electrical, etc. The services would also be broken up into different areas within the West package to allow for multiple designs. The 12D sharing feature could then be used to allow designers to interact with each other in a priority order. So the road designers were pretty keen to switch to 12D after realising the benefit of the sharing feature. The managers also recognised the benefits in delivering the complete West package in 12D. So a decision was made to train the road designers in 12D, which I already had my own training course. After a couple of days with each designer, they were up and running with a very positive outlook in 12D. Even practicing in their own time was completing the East package. Extra time was dedicated in training the lead designer in various setups of 12D, such as the environment file. This allowed him to assume the go-to person for any problems encountered after my approach. Towards the end of my time in Abu Dhabi, Joel Gregory informed us that 12D drainage expert Rob Graham was scheduled for a visit to the UAE. So we're able to coordinate a 3-day drainage course for 5 of their utility engineers. Rob also assisted in setting up the drainage grid standards for the UAE. Yes, it does rain there, at least once a year. This allowed for the complete 12D model for the West. This is how the Al Raha team set out the drainage for the East. Every time a change happened, these were updated manually. They were prone to error, not to mention very hard to verify. This is a fully automated drainage log section on 12D for the West. It contains the same amount of information. So where's it all at? A little over 6 months down the track, pleased to say that Raha Beach in 12D again. project has undergone a radical transformation, and 12D has prompted the dropping of old methods and turned the project into something that more closely resembles the job we would do here. The road, stormwater and sewer detailed design for the west package is about 50% complete, and other services are about to commence. The lead designer has even trained another designer up in 12D, and the client for Al Raha Beach has also given Aecom another job on Ross Island, an urban estate containing approximately 220 curb returns. So the guys there are trying tools like Create Roads Manager, something we don't get to use in the Brisbane office because we predominantly design homes. So where to for Aecom UAE 12D? Well, due to the smooth transitioning of Al Raha Beach to 12D and the results it is achieving, our main Abu Dhabi office is now commencing trials. This will promote an upskilling locally. For local offices in the UAE, doing a full 3D model is relatively unheard of. Only projects like Khor Al Raha do this. The only thing modelled normally is the central one only. So here are some examples that the team at Al Raha Beach has produced in 12D for the West package. I've even received an email a couple of weeks ago from their lead designer expressing his joy of using chains and commutators because of the change they had to do. An area on West design with the stormwater and sewer sharing. That's something you can imagine in 3D.